A big here we go for Chelsea. It's a confirmation of something I told you on daily basis. Now everything is done. It will be completed soon formally, but everything is agreed between Mauricio Pochettino and Chelsea to become the new head coach. Here we go. Pochettino said yes. Chelsea have sent his lawyers all the details of the new potential project, all the details of the contract, all the details of what they wanted to do. They had conversations for a long time. It's something that Chelsea started to do immediately after firing Graham Potter. We know they had conversation with Younes Nagelsmann. Then Nagelsmann decided to leave the conversation with Chelsea. Chelsea explored multiple options, including Luis Enrique, but this is absolutely normal. When a top club wants to approve and to proceed with a new manager, they always do conversations. They always have interviews to decide who is the right candidate, and then they decided at the end of April to approach Mauricio Pochettino. That was immediately a very positive contact for many reasons. Of course, Mauricio Pochettino speaks perfect English, and this is something that not all the candidates do in a perfect way. Also, Mauricio Pochettino has great experience in complicated dressing rooms. For example, at Paris Saint-Germain, they have many stars, and so it's not easy to manage many different players, to put someone on the bench, to put someone on the pitch, to keep the dressing room calm. So Mauricio Pochettino is a manager who is really appreciated for this kind of factor. Also, some sources at Chelsea think that he was also a bit unlucky at Paris Saint-Germain. If you remember what he did with Real Madrid last season in the Champions League, the first game between PSG and Real Madrid in Paris was absolutely perfect. A great game by Paris Saint-Germain. They won with Kylian Mbappé goal, but they dominated Real Madrid. And then at Bernabeu, after that Donnarumma mistake with Benzema scoring the goal, they completely changed their story in the Champions League. But Pochettino was doing a very good job, and he had a very good relationship with many players, important players at PSG. Of course, another factor, Pochettino knows the Premier League very well. He has experience at Tottenham, and so he's considered the perfect candidate for the job. This took long because they wanted to have a conversation with Pochettino on all the single details of the story. So this was, of course, a negotiation on the contract, these kind of things, but also a discussion on the future of the club. So Chelsea wanted to make sure that all the people into the club, all the directors, Paul Winstanley and Laurenz Stewart, were absolutely crucial in this process, but also, of course, Christopher Vivel, Joe Shields, and the owners. How not? Of course, Todd Bowley, Benedict Daly, all involved in these conversations. They wanted to be 100% sure of that. The crucial meeting was almost 3 weeks ago on a Monday in Catalonia, in Barcelona, where Mauricio Pochettino lives. Paul Winstanley was there to have face-to-face conversations with Mauricio Pochettino, and that was a crucial, very positive meeting to reach the agreement. So it was 85%, 90% done. Now we can say that Pochettino has confirmed he's going to accept all the clauses into the contract. Chelsea are prepared to get it signed in the coming days, and so we wait for an official statement, but Mauricio Pochettino will be the man to change the Chelsea project. To change, but also to evolve, I would say, because they're happy of the idea they have in the project. They are not happy at all with the current season, of course. It has been a disaster, but this is part of football sometimes when you have new owners, new directors, new ideas, a lot of new players coming from different countries, so it was not easy to manage for Chelsea, and it was a big mistake this first season, but they still trust the long-term project, and this is why they feel that Pochettino is the perfect candidate. So this is a crucial point. Also, let me clarify one thing. Pochettino will not join Chelsea immediately. He will sign immediately, so he will be able to start the conversations with the board, with the directors, with the owners on the future of the players, preparing for the summer transfer window. But Mauricio Pochettino officially will join Chelsea starting from June, so for the next season. Frank Lampard will remain the caretaker manager until the end of the season, and this was never under discussion. We had rumors of Pochettino immediately, maybe 1 week ago, 2 weeks ago, but for Chelsea that was never the case. They don't want to create any problem to Pochettino, and you know, probably for the exposure in this complicated moment for Chelsea, to put Pochettino there was not going to help in terms of building the reputation and the ideas of Pochettino also among the fans for the next season. So they keep Pochettino protected, and they will build with Pochettino immediately in conversations with the Argentinian coach to understand how to proceed with many players. Let me clarify that Mauricio Pochettino will bring in people for his coaching staff, so people who are always working with him, including his son Sebastiano Pochettino. This was discussed in the last few weeks, but Sebastian Pochettino will be with Mauricio Pochettino as part of the backroom staff to help with the daily work at Chelsea. This will be an important staff. Pochettino believes that the staff is absolutely crucial to make important things into top clubs. This is absolutely important to keep relationships with the players, to keep the players happy, but also to keep the players fit. This is a crucial point. Too many injuries at Chelsea this season, so he really wants to make an impact on that. Also, let me clarify something about Pochettino. He was never in contact with Tottenham now, I mean this year. Daniel Levy never called Mauricio Pochettino in terms of negotiation or conversations to get a job. Pochettino's name was always around at Tottenham because, of course, the fans still have great memories of what Mauricio Pochettino did there, but there were never direct contacts. Tottenham never approached Mauricio Pochettino, so we can't say that Pochettino said no to Tottenham to go to Chelsea. Pochettino was never in conversation with Tottenham because they didn't want him. This is the reality. So this is an important part of the story. Also, what I wanted to add is that Mauricio Pochettino was one of the names in the list at Real Madrid. Yes, at Real Madrid because we know their priority is to support Carlo Ancelotti, to back Carlo Ancelotti, especially for the next days when they will have the crucial game in the semi-final with Manchester City, but at the same time when they were thinking of potential candidates to replace Carlo Ancelotti in case they change their position, Pochettino was always a name around Real Madrid, and so Pochettino, but also Thomas Tuchel, who then signed for Bayern, were names considered by Real Madrid. But they never advanced. They decided to support Carlo Ancelotti for the Champions League games, and Pochettino decided to say yes to Chelsea Football Club, waiting to sign the contracts. Let me clarify also that Pochettino will work closely with the directors. This is why the conversations were very long. Pochettino had very good conversations, especially with Paul Winstanley and Laura Stewart. They were absolutely crucial in this conversation with Pochettino to understand the way of thinking of Mauricio Pochettino, to prepare the future of Pochettino at Chelsea. So he will work closely with them on player side, on transfer strategies, on contracts. So Pochettino will be involved in the conversation. This is something that Chelsea owners always wanted, to have the coach as part of the idea of the club and not just of someone who is going on the pitch and putting in action what he wants to do on a tactical point of view. They want him to be 100% involved. Let me clarify one thing also on what's next for Mauricio Pochettino Chelsea. All the decisions they will make together, club and manager, are going to be for the long term. So Pochettino is not going to think about the short term. We know football is about results, so all the people after this terrible season for Chelsea will expect for important results for Pochettino, but the idea of the club and the idea of the manager is the same. Let's think together on long term. This is for contract extensions, this is for new signings, this is for loan deals, this is for players to be sold. They will think together about long term. And so let's enter into some of the names. From what I understand, Mauricio Pochettino, together with the club, because for the club is the same situation since February, will try to change the situation around Mason Mount. Chelsea already offered a contract to Mason Mount weeks and months ago, but the conversation is still in standby in the sense that it's not advancing yet to extend the contract. Length of the contract, salary, there are some points to clarify, but Pochettino will try to change the story around Mason Mount, while Liverpool, among many clubs, because there is not only Liverpool on Mason Mount, but Liverpool are really pushing to have Mount. But now depends on Chelsea, and Pochettino will try to be a factor in this conversation with the player. Mauricio Pochettino will decide also on the goalkeeper at Chelsea. This is an important point, what they have to do with Kepa, with Edouard Mendy, and then to understand who could be the perfect number one for the Chelsea project in the future. They want a goalkeeper, let's see if it's going to be a new one or if they change the strategy, who can be the goalkeeper of the future of Chelsea, not just for one season. So this is an important point. For Mateo Kovacic, the feeling remains that he will explore and assess his options in the summer ahead of his contract expiring in summer 2020.